My name is Chilufya Lombe and I'm from Solid Insight.
My name is Warren Gray and I'm one of the partners at Solid Insight.
And our innovation is a energy and water monitoring tool. We actually came up with the idea on a project that we had where our client said to us, we put all these meters in, what are we going to do with them? So we started to research what options there were for them locally and internationally. And we found that all the options that were available were actually quite expensive.
So we decided to build our own prototype, which turned into a separate business called Solid Insight. So this is the energy meter which gets connected into your distribution board in the building, connected to the wires, actually measures the energy information. And from there we connect those up to this. And this magic box here is what we call a gateway. So we can connect up to 64 of those meters to a box like this. And this communications gateway makes sure that that information is consistent, reliable, and reliably uploaded to the cloud. So the way that you'd set up a typical site, for example an industrial application, is you would connect a meter like this to whatever energy end use you'd like to monitor, or in the case of monitoring water consumption, you connect a water meter. So for example, you might have multiple energy uses within a factory. One of them might be the lighting, one of them might be a machine, for example a milling machine, and something else might be the heating system. So you'd connect one of these onto every system that you'd like to monitor, and from there you would actually give it a name in correspondence with what you're monitoring, so that on our software you can easily see exactly what you're looking at when you start to draw up the visualizations.
The software was designed in-house, so we've got a development team, which is pretty much where all the funding money goes. And the developers have been working on it for probably a year and a half now, trying to get it up to speed.
So what I'm showing you here is how easy it is for us to set up any graph based on metering information that we're getting. And what we're seeing here initially is the plug load through one day. What's interesting is you can see this is at 9 a.m. in the morning, it runs through until nighttime, and this number actually never goes to zero. So these are hourly values throughout the day. It's a profile of the energy being used by their plugs, and that means anything that you've plugged in. So a computer, a refrigerator, etc., printer perhaps. This is what we call a vampire load. So if you were to come into this project, you could instantly look at perhaps instituting plug load control at night to cut off the energy use. There's no reason for this plug load to be above zero at nighttime because no one's using any appliances or devices at night. What's also useful is we can compare different energy uses, so you can get an idea of the quantum between the energy uses in the building. Here we have lighting, which I'm going to add to the graph, and you can see that they do step it down slightly at about 6 p.m. But it also stays on at night, and there might be reasons for that, and they might want that. But with this, we can actually see the energy that's being used. Then I'm going to add air conditioning. And this one's quite interesting because you can see there's quite a big peak demand. So at about 3 p.m. on this particular day, it probably got quite hot, and the air conditioning ramped up quite seriously up to 4 or 5 kilowatts, which is quite significant for an office of this size. Having said that though, it's very good at going to almost zero at night time. The first thing that is obvious to anyone is air conditioning is the main culprit. It's the main culprit firstly because it's using the biggest quantum of energy, but it also has quite a high peak demand. And a lot of times tenants are actually paying for the amount of power or peak demand that they use. So here we see this is quite a spike. What you could do is you could actually turn on this air conditioning earlier with a degree of control, and you'd manage to bring that peak demand right down and ramp up to slowly cool the space instead of turning it on and trying to cool the space, doing a lot of hard work and ultimately requiring quite a high amount of power to produce that, which hits the pockets of the tenants. You can also display information on any timeline. It's completely agnostic and arbitrary as to what we show. So for example, this is hourly data, but we can also have a look at daily information. So you can see if your energy use is varying by month or by day. We can show any time period you like.
On the consulting side, we did a lot of work in energy modeling in terms of predicting how a building is going to operate. So now that we're getting into this hardware and software side, we're leaving all the virtual stuff behind and we're actually looking at the real world operation. So it actually flows quite nicely from our main company, where we start off by predicting how the building is going to operate, And now with Solid Insight, we can actually monitor how it's operating in real life and then make the necessary adjustments there.
There's a huge amount of job opportunities across the board here. So the first thing is that having the software enables small businesses, small metering resellers, which make up a huge part of the market in South Africa, to have world-class, cutting-edge software that is very professional and looks great to their clients.
The community will definitely benefit from this idea. Other than the creation of jobs to manufacture the component and the training for installers, they will also be able to take on and make use of the software themselves and find their own clients. So Solid Insight has got five partners. There's myself, Warren and Malus, who are also the 3 partners in Solid Green. And then there's Tyron, who's based in Cape Town, and he's head of our software development, and Steve, who is in our finance department. So our long-term plan is to have the bulk of commercial properties on our platform and having access to a large amount of data that we're able to leverage for infrastructure type projects and infrastructure level analysis of energy and water use in the country.
So our mission is very much to bring energy and water data to the end user in a way that is familiar to them as they would experience with something like internet banking or their cell phone online bill.
So we want to give them that data so that they can make more informed decisions about what they need to do to reduce their consumption.